A flight attendant job is a captivating and dynamic career that offers a unique blend of travel, customer service, and safety responsibilities. Flight attendants play a crucial role in ensuring the comfort and well-being of passengers during air travel. As the face of the airline, flight attendants are responsible for providing exceptional customer service. They greet passengers with a warm and friendly demeanor, assist with boarding procedures, and help passengers find their seats. Throughout the flight, they attend to passengers' needs, offering refreshments, meals, and providing assistance with any inquiries or concerns. Their ability to remain calm and composed, even in challenging situations, is essential to maintaining a positive passenger experience. Flight attendants are also responsible for ensuring the safety and security of passengers on board. They meticulously follow safety procedures, conduct pre-flight inspections, and provide safety demonstrations. In the event of an emergency, they are trained to react quickly and efficiently, guiding passengers to safety and administering first aid if necessary. One of the most enticing aspects of a flight attendant job is the opportunity to travel and explore different destinations. Flight attendants get to visit various cities and countries, experiencing diverse cultures and cuisines. However, it's important to note that the job also requires irregular working hours, including weekends, holidays, and overnight shifts, as airlines operate around the clock. Overall, a flight attendant job is a thrilling and rewarding career for those who enjoy working with people, have a passion for travel, and are committed to ensuring the safety and comfort of passengers. It offers a unique blend of excitement, adventure, and the chance to create memorable experiences for passengers from all walks of life. But before we dive into our captivating story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss an amazing tale we bring to your screens. Our channel is all about showcasing the remarkable stories that exist all around us, stories that touch our hearts and remind us of the incredible potential within each and every one of us. An elderly mother opted to travel in business class to be closer to her son. She was, however, rejected by people on board until they found her genuine identity. Ria was embarrassed. The elderly lady had boarded the first jet out of the airport that morning, and she was seated in business class, which was reserved for the wealthy. Nobody looked at her as she entered the cabin, but as she found her seat and sat, all eyes went to her. The explanation was straightforward. She stuck out like a sore thumb. Whereas the other men and women in the room were dressed beautifully and expensively, Ria was dressed in her old, broken-in clothing. It was her finest, but it looked dreary in comparison to what the others were wearing. When she sat down, the guy next to her had his face totally buried in a newspaper, so he didn't see her right away. When he finished, he glanced to his side and cringed at her appearance before signaling a flight attendant. "What is this?" he asked, motioning to Ria. The flight attendant was embarrassed by the man's tone, but after validating the woman's seat number, she turned to face him and responded. This customer picked a seat based on the ticket she purchased. Because of Ria's presence, the guy seemed to be about to vomit, and before he even began to speak, he unfurled an immaculate handkerchief and used it to cover his nose. "I'm not sure what's on her ticket, but I booked a seat in business class to get away from people like her. Now it just seems like I'm in a cheap alley with homeless people," he said. The dispute had piqued the interest of many in the cabin, and some seemed to be rooting for the guy. One obese lady, dripping in jewels from head to toe, spoke out. "If I wanted to travel with such scumbags, I'd purchase an economy class ticket," she added, and the passengers agreed with a murmur. The murmur suddenly took on a life of its own, resulting in a quarrel that the attendant attempted to settle, but the affluent individuals would have none of it. The lady had to go. "Can't you tell she doesn't belong here?" said one guy. "Is this the lowest this airline has sunk?" Another individual said, "How can such a person afford the bill? We want her gone, and we want a formal apology for exposing us to such trash." The guy next to Ria added. He and a few other passengers stood up and refused to sit down until they received what they wanted. Ria sat there, listening to them argue and tread on her dignity. Even still, she heard how they spoke about her, and it grieved her greatly that people could be so nasty. Sad tears streamed down her gently wrinkled cheeks before she realized it. Perhaps I'll simply go, Rhea reasoned as she began to pack her belongings with shaking hands. As she rose up to leave, she fell, and instead of catching her as instinct dictated, the guy next to her cringed away, as if to avoid being splashed with dirt. Rhea knelt down and unintentionally spilled the contents of her handbag. She began to gather her belongings with shaky hands, aware that she was the center of attention in the cabin. A well-dressed elderly woman, who had been sleeping peacefully until the ruckus woke her up, jumped up and dropped down on her knees to help Rhea. When one of the passengers handled Rhea like a person, the whole cabin became quiet. A passport picture of a small kid was the woman's first purchase. "I appreciate that," Rhea murmured gently as she accepted it from her. "This is my kid," she muttered, still on her knees, a sorrowful look on her face. "He is the pilot of the aircraft. He must have developed into a lovely young man," said the affluent elderly woman. "How could I possibly have known? I had to put him up for adoption at the age of 5 because I couldn't afford to care for him." Tears flowed down her cheeks as she spoke, and the cabin went quiet. "I've been looking for him for years and haven't found him yet. I just learned he had become a pilot, so I started looking for him at airports. I tracked him down today, but the only way I could get close to him was to board this aircraft." Rhea looked around at the people around her, and most of them looked away because they were embarrassed. "I apologize for making you all uncomfortable, but I simply wanted to be as near to my kid as possible, which is why I saved up for this chance. I felt it would be a good birthday gift for me since the business class is closer to him, and I'd never flown before." By the time she finished narrating her tale, several of the people were in tears. Rhea soon stood up and joined the flight attendants, who were eager to see her kid. "What if he doesn't want to see me?" she said, contradicting their efforts. "What if he despises me because I deserted him?" The guy who had been against her sat alongside him before the flight attendant could say anything. "You had no option. I think he'd understand," he said, diving behind his newspaper. He was also humiliated. Rhea boarded the aircraft with the flight attendant to meet her son for the first time. A man's voice could be heard on the aircraft after a time. "This is the captain speaking. On this aircraft, there is a special passenger, my mother, and today is her birthday." Everyone praised the elderly woman, and those who had criticized her earlier apologized for their blunder. When the plane landed, Joseph, the pilot, dashed towards his mother, and Rhea finally reclaimed her son after many years apart.